Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of July. I hope you are well. I'm using the Llewellyn Tarot for you today. I know these readings are late. Thank you for waiting for me. It is appreciated. So let's get straight on with you. You can have 3 cards for Pisces, please. What's going on with Pisces? There's the first one. We have the Page of Swords in your recent past. It's current energy. Ooh, we have the King of Wands, Leo energy, popping up there for you in your current. And what about what's coming towards Pisces, please? We have the 8 of Wands, that's Sagittarius energy right there. So there's a bit of fire going on. But we do have the 4 of Cups underneath here. And together with the Page of Swords, there's a kind of somber, slightly difficult feeling, right? There's challenging stuff going on here. I feel like there's maybe a bit of a triggering going on, actually. But let's get some clarifiers and then we'll see what's going on here for you. So, tell me about the Page of Swords, please. Thank you. We have the 4 of Wands there, and the 2 of Wands. We have the King of Wands. We have the 2 of Swords, and the Queen of Wands. Awful lot of fire energy going on here. That's Aries. Tell me about the 8 of Wands, please. We've got the Ace of Swords. Let's have one more for the 8 of Wands, please. Thank you. We've got the Page of Cups. So we've got double pages indicating somewhat of a shift in direction for you. Not exactly starting again, but certainly coming at things from a different perspective than you have done hitherto. We've got more fire energy under here with the Aries card of the Emperor, but we also have the Hanged Man and the High Priestess sitting behind it. So, just as seems to be the case for every single sign that I've read for this month, there are shifts and changes afoot that certainly will be in place, I feel, before the end of July. Astrologically, there seems to be quite a lot going on this month. And the only thing that I do really remember is that Uranus is... There's some sort of transit involving Uranus and the North nodes. North node being in Taurus at the moment. Although that seems to be affecting more specifically the fixed signs, I think that there will be something in there for everyone. I know that there's a lot of other things going on, so if you are interested in astrology, it might be worth going and looking at other videos on YouTube to get a better overview of that. But what we seem to have going on here is a shift from passivity into action. There's an awful lot of Wands cards here on the table, Pisces, and that Wands for me are very much about doing and living and experiencing. It's not about necessarily feeling, although feeling can come into it. It's definitely not about thinking. And it isn't really about reflecting here for you. No Pentacles, interestingly enough. So we have these 2 cards that are Piscean cards, High Priestess and the Hanged Man. Very, very powerful individually. I think they're particularly powerful when they're coming up in tandem like this, because they do speak to a very profound inner knowing of something. And so what we've got is a shift going on from a point of knowing something to a point of doing something about it. We go from here to here, and we're seeing this kind of laid out in the cards here too. And we start off with the Page of Swords. Now, in the Llewellyn Tarot, I feel like this Page of Swords looks to me rather hesitant. He looks rather grave. He looks like the information that he has in his hand there is of the sort that he would rather not deliver. This feels to me like a truth that you would rather not know, and yet you do. And I think that you might well have been in a position for a little while of processing and trying to work out what it is that you're going to do about it. I would point to this Four of Cups underneath here, a card that speaks to abandonment issues and rejection generally. And there's that feeling of kind of being isolated and slightly alone, and things not quite going the way that you thought that they were going. With the addition of this Page of Swords, it does feel like information has come to light in whatever way that that's occurred. And for you, it might well have been a feeling which then got validated, something that you just picked up in the ether. That then you went looking for proof for and you found it, or maybe the proof just landed on your lap, But where this card usually speaks about mental expansion and kind of things that are really, really very good, there's that stasis there implied, It's almost like this information has been on this white horse and gallops a long way. And now, at this point where actually, the handing over of this information is almost imminent, he's got down off his horse and he's standing there and, considering whether he's strong enough to be able to deliver what comes next. Now, you, for me, feel like the recipient of this information. I don't feel like you've been giving it to someone else necessarily. But it feels incredibly destabilizing. When I did the meditation before I started your reading, I got palpitations. It was just like an anxiety started rising, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. What's that about? And it's that same kind of moment of trying to pull everything in just before you have to go and do a thing. It's presenting something to you that you didn't think that you would have to deal with. And where everything seemed settled and where it seemed like there was a foundation, and we have two cards numbered 4 here, 4 of Wands and 4 of Cups, suddenly that does not feel nearly as stable as it was. We're going from 4 Wands down to 2. And there is an understanding that we are now at a crossroads where we thought we were nice and stable and solid, and where we thought we could be where we were. This is a card that speaks to me of home as much as anything else, and all of the stability and security that implies. Now, suddenly, nothing's quite as settled as it was, and decisions need to be made. But I don't feel like, up until, well, even recently, that you've either known what to do about it, or even felt particularly compelled to make the decision. You've literally been cut down on the number of wands that you've got by half, in light of whatever information has come to you. And I don't get a sense of any kind of enthusiasm about the approaching decisions that you need to make. Let's pull another card and get the Triple Goddess out here. Tell me about this 2 of Wands, please. We have the Strength card, another Leo card. Comes out for you a lot. And we've got the 2 of Cups. For most of you, this will involve a relationship of some sort, right? We've got the 6 of Wands at the bottom of the deck there, and the 10 of Pentacles. This felt very successful. It felt very secure. It felt very stable. It felt like it was something that was worthy of the level of investment that you might have put into it. But then we have the Death card. We have this coming to an end. Now, this doesn't have to be romantic or sexual relationships. It can be other things too. We could see how this would apply to work. Perhaps you were comfortable with your work colleagues and you were comfortable with your job, and then all of a sudden you found out that perhaps the company is shutting down, or they're looking for people to take voluntary redundancy before they start going in and making swinging cuts to, to the staffing levels. You must take it as it resonates to you. But we're going from stability and security to a lack thereof. What you thought would be the case and it not being the case. This 2 of Wands, clarified by the Strength card, and the 2 of Cups, is speaking to an understanding that a decision must be made. And it being more than just a practical matter. In fact, there's very little here that speaks to your hesitancy being concerned with practical material matters, because there are no pentacles here on the table whatsoever. There's in fact no earth energy on the table whatsoever. What were those things apart from that 10 of pentacles there? And so it is about the emotional reaction to what it is that is in front of you, whatever that may be, whatever form it's taking. And when we move into your current energy, we have that King of Wands, so we've got that Leo energy there. We also have the Queen of Wands, which is Aries energy, but we have that Two of Swords in between, and it feels to me a little bit like you've got a bit stuck in a rut, Pisces, in so much as your thought processes. Right? You don't feel to me like you can see the end. You don't feel to me like you know where this is going. And for some signs, that would be an absolute deal breaker, right? So earth signs particularly, you know, thinking Capricorn and Taurus specifically. And you're a little less dependent on knowing where you are going, and yet that seems to be the aspect of this that is causing the stutter, the mental stutter that you're having here. You know that a decision needs to be made, but you don't feel to me like you are ready to make that decision. Now, when I see the Two of Swords, often what I say is it's you know, that decision actually has already been made, but what we don't want to do is face up emotionally to what the end result of that would be, because perhaps for you it is complete uncertainty. That's possible. But this Queen of Wands and King of Wands flanking this Two of Swords here feels to me like you are being pulled and stretched, and you know that it is not going to be long before some sort of decision from you is going to need to be made, because these two fire signs here are ready to go. They are champing at the bit. They're like, we need to go and do a thing. We need to go and do a thing. We cannot sit here and hope that this all just goes away, because it's not going to happen. Whereas this card very much does feel like it's, I hope that this goes away. I don't really want to have to deal with this. Excuse me. Tell me about this Two of Swords. Right. We have the King of Pentacles, speaking of Taurus. We have the Tower card, and we have the Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck. So whatever is going on for you at the moment, it feels incredibly destabilizing. I already said before any of those cards came out that I felt like you had been destabilized, like in some way the rug feels like it's been pulled out underneath you. And now there is a duty and a responsibility to rise to meet that challenge in whatever way that applies, and start making decisions, taking responsibility about where it is that you might go forwards. But you feel to me like you could not want to engage with that any less than you do right now. The thing is, the balance between these, you've got this unpleasant energy of the Tower, which I get, and you've got this unpleasant energy of the Nine of Swords. But then you've got these two energies who are kind of here ready to do something for you. And even the King of Pentacles is kind of supportive in so much as he's like, right, well, it's one foot in front of the other. We don't rush, we don't run, you know, we don't go flying headlong into a wall. We just have to keep moving. We just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. We need to be disciplined, and we need to do this, you know, we need to we need to be methodical about it. But then there's this resistance, and there's this, I don't want to do that. And where you're being torn is the doing and the one foot in front of the other and all that kind of thing, and wanting to stay where you are, wanting to stay put. The thing is, with this Tower coming in, if the information that came to you in the recent past is the prospect, almost certain prospect of whatever the Tower represents being the thing, then it seems to me like in the current energy, then it is the Tower finding its actualization. This is not just this might happen, this is very likely to happen, this is going to happen. This is it actually happening here in front of you. And being torn between taking action and retreating to a place of inaction, feels like it's very uncomfortable for you, and it does revolve around this idea of being triggered by this Four of Cups and this Ten of Pentacles here. What you thought would last for a long time, which now spontaneously seems to have just collapsed, leaving you somewhat alone. It's your emotional attachment to this situation, to perhaps these people, this person, whatever it is for you. But fuck me, I didn't even notice that there. We've got the Nine of Swords and we've got the Two of Swords sitting behind it. The thing that is causing the problem is not the uncertainty. It isn't actually where it is that you're going. It's the refusal to make the decision at this point. Now, the question for you is, why is it that you are refusing to make this decision? Like, what do you have to sit with a little bit longer? Because it feels like there's something being shown to you here, which is a beautiful opportunity for growth, should you choose to take it. But as things stand at the moment, you don't really want to look at it. You don't really want to make any decisions. You really don't want to accept the reality of this situation being as it is. I get that, and I totally understand that. And you're not the only sign to have had a challenging reading. Like I said, everybody's got shifts and changes and moves in directions that they did not anticipate going in, coming up for them this month. But whenever the Tower shows up, there's something here that is releasing you, right, from something that is not for you. That's the energy of the Tower. The Tower is always good, and almost, I would say probably 95% of the time, it doesn't feel it at all. It feels like everything is falling down and everything is going wrong. And it's only in reflection, hindsight being 2020, that a year or 2 years down the road we can go, actually it was the best thing that could have ever happened. Didn't enjoy it at the time, but it's taken me to a really good place. The uncertainty of where you are headed is not something that's going to resolve itself without action. That's what the King and Queen of Wands are saying to you here. It's even what the King of Pentacles is saying to you here. All it does is serve to entrench it. So from here, the key for you, it seems, is to get in touch with the High Priestess and find out what she knows, and get in touch with your inner Hanged Man and find out what it is about your perspective that needs to change in order that you can start moving forwards. You can start actioning something, because you feel quite disempowered to me at the moment, Pisces, and it's really, really important that you reclaim that power for yourself. And almost invariably that power comes from the ability to be able to make decisions for yourself. Because anything else, particularly when it comes to a refusal or a fear of making a decision for whatever reason, anything else will see you stuck and at the whim and the mercy of other people's decisions. Now, when we come to what's coming up for you for the rest of July, we've got the Eight of Wands. Now, it's a card often that speaks to me about momentum, increasing momentum, and we can definitely see that the Tower is not going to be avoided. And if it hasn't entirely struck yet, it certainly will at some point, because it's an unstoppable energy. It's an unstoppable force. It's going to have its way. It's major arcana, right? It's a big universal force that acts at you, and then the minor arcana is the way that you choose to respond to it. It is your day-to-day responses, right? But it also, and particularly in the Llewellyn, this one here talks about conversation. Because the ones aren't going in one direction. They're not coming into land like you would usually see them in most decks. Like there's actually a two-way thing going on here. And I think it's important for you to be able to express what it is that is going on inside of you at the moment, right? The Eight of Wands could well indicate some sort of really important communication that you have with someone else, where you really begin to just through the act of speaking it, begin to clarify what it is exactly that you are resisting and why you are standing still. It's here with the Ace of Swords and the Page of Cups. Now I'm talking about going off in a slightly different emotional direction. Being as though the whole reading seems to be revolving around what is your resistance and what it is that you are emotionally attached to. This augurs very well. To be able to release yourself from that and start making your way off in a different direction. It is accompanied with the Ace of Swords, which speaks to a truth. It speaks to a kind of level of mental clarity that it seems to me that you don't have at your disposal at this moment. Rather than trying to choose between two swords when you know damn well there's nothing to choose between them. You know, just pick one, put it down, and then see how far you can go with this new clarity here, right? That is coming from the insight into your emotional state. Tell me about the Eight of Wands, please. We've got the Four of Pentacles and we've got the Nine of Pentacles. Now this is interesting because I said there was very little of a practical or material nature going on here for you. I just want to point out you've also got the Three of Wands at the bottom of the deck here. But here are these pentacles, right? The King of Pentacles has already shown his head, so we knew that there should be some pentacles around here somewhere. There should be practical differences, practical changes that you are making to your environment that that are becoming increasingly unavoidable. And yet there was no sign of these pentacles anyway. Well, here they are. By the end of July, you are absolutely going to have to face this situation. Otherwise, it's going to be done for you. That's the message that we've got here, right? But this Four of Pentacles in the Triple Goddess, I really, really like because it's the only one that I've got where rather than clamping down on these pentacles, what we've got is a free giving of them. Like she's offering that pentacle out. The rest of them are just kind of scattered by her legs. There's no sense of her clamping down onto it. By resisting, you are clamping down on things. I wonder if that's why the pentacles haven't really emerged up until this point. If you are willing to release them, if you're willing to let them go, then the energy can move more freely. And what is a pentacle? Well, a pentacle is anything that you have to invest. So it can be your time, your care, your effort, your money, your love, your attention, your willingness, you know, all of these sorts of things. It's about stepping out of the place that you are sitting in at the moment, where you're resisting the changes that are coming into your life because you are uncertain and you don't know which way to go. And it's going, right, I've got a number of pentacles. Let's find a new direction for them to go in, because where I am right now is unsustainable. So where am I going to invest them? Which way am I going to go? The Nine of Pentacles says that they need to be invested into you. I mean, this card talks to me about good resource management. So where are your resources going at the moment? Are you actually expending any resources at the moment? Or is the resistance taking up every pentacle that you have? Because these kind of endings, such as you seem to be experiencing here, come about when it's time to start anew. Right? And for whatever reason, we haven't done it ourselves. So the Tower comes in and it kicks our sandcastle over and it goes, fuck off and do something else. And that's it. That's the end of the energy. And that invariably is a good thing, because whatever is in front of you is just not doing it for you anymore, right? But there's something about pulling a lot of things back to you here and checking your resources, checking where your energy leaks are, checking where you've kind of possibly clamped down on an energy that needs to flow from you. There are changes that need to be made, and not making them isn't going to postpone them forever. It's time to sort of get on top of it, you know? So it's time to tap into what you know. It's time to have a look and see how you can switch around the perspective that you've got at the moment, see things from a different perspective. And then it's time to get in charge of your shit, Pisces. And I feel that really strongly for you, because you can't resist the Tower. And whether this is something really good for you or something that has long-term or negative consequences all depends on how you choose to respond to the Tower. Now, the cards that I'm seeing here are really, really good. But you are going to have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and do something that is the absolute opposite of what you feel to me like you'd rather be doing at this point. And I don't even know if I would qualify what it is that I'm feeling this resistance as fear. It doesn't quite feel like that to me. There is an apprehension. There is a great deal of uncertainty. Perhaps if there is any fear at all, it's the fear of kind of making a wrong step. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to put all of my eggs into one basket, because what if I fuck it up, you know? But at the same time, the situation that you're in will only degrade the longer you put off making these decisions and actually starting to take some action in one direction. It's almost like it doesn't really matter where you go, Pisces, or what you do, so long as you start owning it and going with it. Right, this is very interesting. I'm going to go over to Vimeo and we're going to pull this apart a little bit more, because I feel very good about these cards over here, the Eight of Wands and everything that comes after it. And I feel like once you start making decisions, you will also feel very good about it. But I wanted to dig into those specifically. So if you would like to join me over there, the link is down in the description box. It's lying down there somewhere. You could alternatively join my Patreon community. You get access to all of the extended content across all of the signs then for no extra cost. Plus the community are fucking outstanding and I love them. But if not, that's also fine. But just if you take away nothing else, it's that you've got to step somewhere, Pisces, because you run the risk of being knocked off your perch altogether if you stay where you are. It doesn't matter what you do, you've just got to move. Now, everything will become clear in time, but at this point you're not really supposed to know where you're going. There's a certain amount of faith and trust that you're being asked to employ. And if you can work out what it is that is triggering this Four of Cups for you, then all's the better. But just do something, you know? I might just call the video that, do something. Anyway, I'm going to go. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.